everybody
that was a high-energy Jeb Bush.
It was Bush's best debate by far. I think it is coming rather late in the process, but if Bush has any case in this fluid a race of keeping going with credibility into South Carolina, keeping his supporters with him, this gave them ammunition to it.
Particularly on this issue, eminent domain, which is so important here in New Hampshire. Jeb knew his audience. He's been out doing all these town halls, and he really drew blood in that exchange.
And John, I should say, I was at one of Jeb's events yesterday in Bedford, and the anti-Trump contingent there was really strong. I mean, among the Jeb supporters, one voter actually stood up and said, "I want you to throw a punch at Donald Trump tonight." Clearly, there is a feeling within quarters that he needs to come out.
Pulled off like the blue steel thing.
I think Jeb has shrewdly played to a segment here of the electorate that is college educated, that is frankly appalled by Donald Trump and the idea of Donald Trump, and he has gone after them with gusto, and I think that might be enough to sort of at least keep his campaign going in South Carolina. But real fast, though, the problem that Jeb has here is that he's not alone doing that. John Kasich is appealing to some of those same voters.
Yes.
If Kasich wasn't on the ballot, Jeb would almost certainly have a ticket to SC, but it's harder now, though.
But to your point, and to your point, Trump has been basically capped in a certain range. There was this big question about his ceiling, and his supporters got angry when we talked about his ceiling, but realistically, we're talking about between 25% and 30%. As you said, there's the largest section that says they will not vote for someone, are not voting for him. And what you saw in Iowa, you saw this enormous turnout, and a lot of it, some of it was Trump, a lot of it was Stop Trump. And so I do wonder what you will see in terms of that here. How many people are going to be motivated? I heard anecdotally in Iowa, a lot of people who basically said, well, I'm a vote against that guy. We'll see if that's the case.
But who do they pick is the issue, because the center-right lane or the governor lane, whatever you want to describe it, because you mentioned I was at that Jeb Bush yesterday. 10 minutes before, I was at a Chris Christie event, a mile up the road, looking for the same suburban voters in Bedford, your sort of establishment Republicans, and Kasich's going after largely the same crowd. He wants a little bit more independence coming in. Listen to Kasich last night, because you've had the other guys. Kasich wants to say he's running a completely positive campaign. Nobody runs a completely positive campaign. He gets into it when he needs to. But he has tried to create his own lane, this sort of the blue-collar Republican. And last night he tried to close by saying, look at what I've done in Ohio.
When you go from $8 billion in the hole to $2 billion in the black, when you cut taxes by $5 billion and you grow over 400,000 jobs, that is a record that I can take to Washington.
If you add it up, Kasich, Bush, Christie, put Carly Fiorina in there. She's essentially going after them more or less, even though she's an outsider establishment voters. And Marco Rubio, Donald Trump would be in the rearview mirror. But you have this cluster.
Yeah, and for Kasich, the question is, he may do well here, but where is he going to do well afterwards? It's hard to see him doing well in South Carolina or the Super Tuesday states. And he does not have the kind of organization that he's built that could actually compete for a national campaign. That is the one thing that Jeb does have going for him. While he may have burned through a lot of money, he does have a national.
And it's why Ted Cruz's campaign is quietly cheering for Jeb Bush, the ultimate representative of the establishment. But Cruz's folks are cheering for Jeb here in New Hampshire because they want Jeb, and more importantly, they want Jeb's super PAC to keep going to South Carolina and keeping its fire on Marco.